All right, y'all, what we got here is somewhere in the 90s, 4630, undetermined. We know it's pre-96 because it doesn't have a turbo, and it's not a New Holland, it's just a Ford. But it's got probably an ungodly amount of hours on it. That's undetermined as well. But the plan with this one is to polish a turd. Me and Dad are going to jump into it here, and we're going to tear it apart because right now it doesn't start off the starter. We're just jumping off solenoid. But the first steps are to get that working, and then we might start working on fenders and get everything straightened up a little bit, and lights and all that good stuff. But here's what she looks like right now, and hopefully she doesn't look like this when we're done. But we got a little bit of work in front of us. Let's jump into it. All right, y'all, got this thing blown apart now. Me and Dad tore into it, got most of the body off of it. Having a fit with this steering wheel, mostly because I don't have the right tools. I think I'm just gonna have to rent. I've got a steering wheel puller, but I don't have the, what do you call this thing? Clamp goes underneath it. I tried to jerry rig a C-clamp and pretty much destroyed it. She is on there, but I have to get that. So I got the body tore up off of this. Dad did most of that. There they are. We definitely got a lot of cleaning up to do though. You can see here, this radiator needs some love. Gonna flush all that out of there. Got to put new tie rod ends and ball joints on this thing. Well, not ball joints, but tie rod ends on that one. Here's this side. You can see you're good now. Needs to be cleaned up some. Gonna new hydraulic hoses on the power steering. New step. I'm gonna put hydraulics on it, rear remote hydraulics. The wiring is completely gone on it. This was the safety switch wiring and the 12 volt to the rear. It's gone. Got to redo all the safety switch wiring and ignition wiring. This one's gone too. I tore the gauge cluster out and I took it apart. It was really yellowed, which you saw in the last one, but I'm working on that. Got to redo all the fenders. They're shot, they're beat. You can see right here, toast. Beat 2 pieces. Do a little bit of cosmetic work here. Back here is pretty solid, just needs a top link and it's pretty much ready to roll, and then the rear remotes. Tires in good shape though. We already put new fronts on it. Fronts were pretty much gone. We already put new fronts on it. But that fender's toast, and then we gotta do some work. Springs missing on the brakes. Do some work on the throttle here. But seat's in good shape though. It's in really good shape. And then I'm still looking for a loader, so I'm gonna look for that. But we got some body damage on this thing. Have to get this side straightened out. This ain't gonna be no showpiece, so I'm just gonna bang it with a hammer and sand it and paint it. And then got some fiberglass work we'll have to do over here. And then that's about it. Get some stickers and shoot her and put her back to work. But I'll give y'all a little update when our next progress, I don't know what you call them, benchmark, whatever, checkpoint. But I'll give you an update later. All right. Okay, guys. If any of y'all ever take steering wheel off an old Ford tractor, I guess any tractor for that matter, it is a huge pain. That took forever. I ended up having just to cut pretty much all of it. Just butchered it. Melted it. I tried heating it. All kinds of different gear pullers. It would not work. Pretty much just butchered it. Best you can figure. Just cut it in half and then ended up taking a sledgehammer and just beating it. But it's off, which allowed me to get this final piece of the body off, and she is dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Well, this will allow me to get in here to this ignition. We'll get that rewired. We'll get all these lights changed out and everything, and get this tank flush and clean, because it probably got tons of gunk in it. So I'm gonna drain the tank as well as clean it. But just more of the teardown going on right now. I'll get you an update later. Alright guys, I've been hammering away on this thing. It took me quite a bit of time, even though it probably really doesn't look that much different. But I've hammered on this step. I got this one straightened out. It's got its little kick up on the front so your feet don't fly off. And then this one was like pretty much straight down, and this bracket right here, the main like support bracket, was way twisted out and down. I gotta weld this up and weld this up. I'll have to do that and then paint it, but at least we got a step here now. I thought I was going to have to buy a new one, but I think I saved that. I think we're good on that one, so don't have to buy that. But that's looking a little better. That's a little update. Not a big deal, but that took a lot of time. Now we just gotta go to the other one. I should put a picture here of what that looked like before, but it's looking pretty good now. And then I gotta fix this one over here now. It's not as bad though. It just needs, if you see here, it's got a little bit of a dip here, and this needs to be kicked up a little bit more. And then I need to fix this throttle bracket. It's catching right there. And it needs a spring down here for the brakes. So that's gonna be the next one. Fixing that right here, just a little, but this one's in much better shape. Should be a lot quicker on this one, but I'm gonna jump into it. Alright guys, it's pretty loud in here because it's sleet and rain and snowing outside, making a lot of noise in here, but I banged on this fender and I got this bowl for the light to recess in, hammered back out. It was completely kinked. I got this fender pretty straight now, straight enough to take it off and finish up, do the final work on it, but got this this handle back down, kick outs on it right now. Come back here. That's straight now. It was tilted up like this. I pulled it back down. That's square. And then I got to get some sheet metal to fix this back here, but this one's pretty much straight now. You know, it was way out. It's tilted. The whole thing is tilted way out. But I got it straightened up as close as I'm going to get without taking it off the tractor. Got this pretty close to straight. Almost finished up. Sorry guys, my grandpa came out here. I talked to him real quick, but I got this handle. I keep saying hammer. This handle, I got it beat out. It was, you know, completely smashed back in there. You couldn't even get through it. And then of course I got to clean it up some. But at least you can get to it. It took a lot to pull this out this way. But she's fairly close. A little bit touch up work. But I mean, it's good enough for this tractor. She's straight now. Y'all see it from the front. But it's far better than having to go buy them, because they're like $300 a piece. It's gonna look all right, especially when I get the lights in there. Well, I'll give y'all an update here in a little bit. Let's get back into it. All right, guys. Been beating on these fenders. Welded this piece up here, and pretty much got it back to where I want it to be. They're definitely not gonna be perfect, but this is a farm tractor. It's all it's gonna be. Ain't no showpiece. So we're gonna get this. I'll sand this up and rough it up and shoot it. I think it's pretty much good to go. It's pretty much square. And then where that other fender was missing this little, it was ripped off here and didn't have this jut out. I traced that one out, cut me a little template, and then this used to be the side of an old microwave that I dug out of the barn. And I cut it out for the sheet metal, and don't look too close because it ain't perfect, but I put that back in there. We'll sand it up and shoot it. But got that looking better. I even got this handle, which I think I already showed y'all this, but got this handle roughly where she needs to be, but we'll grind her down and shoot her with some paint. Should be pretty good. I'm relatively pleased with how that turned out. Ain't perfect, but definitely gonna look better than it did. Won't have a bunch of jaggedy edges off of it. Well, I'll give y'all an update when we get these painted. I don't know what I'm gonna do next, but probably paint these and then start working on getting these brake seals put on this, the tie rod ends, and hydraulics. We'll jump into that. Here we go, y'all. the final reveal of the fenders. Definitely could have took more time sanding, but this is a farm tractor and they're going to be used, and I think it's going to do the job of looking good from the field. But yeah, got to paint it up. They're looking out pretty good, real slick. And if you look close enough, you can tell where I patched that in, but I think it looks good enough for me. But I will say, that's this Rust-Oleum paint. I don't know how well it's going to hold up in the field, but I got the appliance epoxy. And this is far better than just regular old rattle can paint. I mean, it's got a really nice finish to it. It looks good. And I'm hoping after it hardens up that it's got a little bit more durability to it. We will find out though. But got this done. Next step is start jerking the rest of that apart. Fuel tank and all. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to talk kind of loud because it's raining outside. But I've got this whole thing, got the tank off, battery tray, the intake, everything busted off of it. Everything that was gonna need to be cleaned up or I need to get to the chassis to paint, I took it off. And I'm currently working on putting new ball joints and tie rod ends on. But the main things are, I got all the panels off and got those sanded down, decals off, and I shot them with a coat of paint. I ain't no painter, so they're not gonna be perfect, but they're looking pretty good, I think. And then, also, everything that's gonna be black, I've already taken off, and I kind of got ahead of myself and was just going to town, so I didn't record a lot of, you know, before and afters, which I don't have any time lapse, so I don't record any of that. But here's the black pieces. Everything that's gonna be black, I went ahead and shot. So that's all blacked out. They're all sitting over here. So as soon as this dries, well, really that's just gonna dry. But as soon as I get time to roll this thing outside, I'm gonna wire wheel it down and paint it. That's where we're at on it. Just currently working on the tie rod ends. Let me get those off of there and put the new ones on. Let's get to it. Alright y'all, little update. So I got the new loader and I went ahead and put the mounts on. I'm gonna paint them when I paint the tractor. Got the front mounts put on here. Also, I got the new tie rod ends and ball joints put in. Pretty easy to do. Not too hard. And now we have greasable fittings on there. Should wear a little bit better. Got the roll cage off to get painted in the seat. Got to clean that up there before I paint this, but something I did do, took a little bit of time, but was well worth it. If you'll remember, I had that little knob here that was frozen and the actual overmolded plastic part was gone. So I just took a piece of cold rolled steel and made this. Because that piece is hard to find and very expensive when you do. It was like 200 bucks just for that one little knob, so I vetoed going back with that and going with that. And then, if you look over here, we have the roll cage all painted up, ready to go back on. I didn't do a gloss on this one. I did the Rust-Oleum truck bed liner. I thought it needed to be a little more matte, and plus it's gonna be running into trees and stuff. Tractors always do. So we got that on there, and next step is to roll this out and start scrubbing it down and getting ready to shoot at the paint. And after that, we're gonna start putting her back together. So that's the next step. I'll show you all what she looks after we get done painting her. Alright. Alright guys, got this thing scrubbed down and I started shooting, got paint on her. And she is looking sharp. I think she's turning out real good. I didn't clean her the best, and this is not what you call grade A paint. But I'm liking it. It looks real good from far away. Next step's gonna be, you know, getting these tires painted up, but I think I'm gonna throw this back together first. I'll get these tires painted. Gotta paint those over there so they all match fenders, all the same white. But we're pretty much to the point where we're gonna start throwing her back together. She's looking sharp. pleased with how she's turning out. All right, let's keep on trucking. Okay guys, so it was crunch time. We got to get this thing done, and I haven't been recording a lot, but I picked this bucket up. I didn't tell y'all anything about it. I just told you I put brackets on. But my father-in-law ran down. I found this on Facebook Marketplace, picked it up, $4 grand. It's about the best thing I could find right now because you cannot find these things. It's a 7410 or 7310 Ford loader. But I guess whoever made them back when they're making these things, I don't really know the whole story, but it said like Shoemaker SMC group. It was black. Anyways, it was the exact same thing as a 7310, but it was black from the factory. It hadn't been painted black, but it was identical. So I guess it's probably whoever's private label and these loaders for Ford made some of their own that were just black. I don't really know. Anyways, it's the same loader as 7310. I bought it, and I didn't want it to be black. I wanted it to be blue, so I busted it down. Just wrapped some aluminum foil on the hydraulics, roughed her up, and shot her with the blue paint. So next step's going to be putting stickers on, and putting stickers on the tractor, and putting them together. That's what we got going on. It does work. I'll show you all the valve setup here in a second on the tractor. We've had to do some stuff, figuring some stuff out. I will say I bought this off Amazon, and it said good to a 90 series or 90s up to a 10 series Ford. I didn't do my research, but the bottom flow pattern on this, I don't know. I cannot find, other than the factory ones, that works for the 30 series Ford, like the 4630 and the 3930. I can't find these remotes aftermarket that'll work. I've ordered 2 sets, and they just don't work. They don't have enough galleys in the bottom here to flow in. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. I'll show y'all what I'm talking about here in a minute, but that's where we're at. Talking pretty fast because we're in a rush. Gotta get this done, get it out, but that's where we're at right now. All right, next up, putting it together. We'll check up then. All right guys, so we had to rush this last little bit. I didn't get to film a whole lot of it, but she's delivered. She's out at my father-in-law's place and finished up, ready to go to work. But here's the finished tractor here. I made these mounts. I showed a little bit of it, but pretty much what I did is I just cut the pin-on side mounts off of the bucket that was on there. And that's what these are here. And then I made this. I got these pieces of metal out here. And there's one in there. You can't see it really good, but it's this piece right here. And I just welded that to it. And then welded this bar in the middle. And then it comes down through here and ties in. And I put this little collar on it just for a little extra strength. And there's the finished tractor. The finished look. I think this turned out pretty good. Works pretty good. I had to do some jerry rigging on a little bit of it just because the mounts weren't quite engineered correctly, I guess. But that's what I mean. They're $80. These 2 plates here were $80, and to buy like the whole assembly off of somebody like Steiner or actually the factory New Holland one, like to buy it from them was like $3,600. So if it doesn't work, we're still ahead on the money. But that's the finished tractor. That's her all finished up. Looks good. Got those 2 lights put in there. The turn signals. I bought these logos here. We bought on the internet, but they're close. We cut those out with a Cricut, and we also cut this out with a Cricut. So we got the Ford's probably just a smidge big, but they look pretty good. New filters, new oil. Here's the look from up on the seat. Got that gauge cluster cleaned up. If you remember from the beginning, it's all fogged out. I Started with 600, then 2,000, and 3,000, and buffed her. We got that cleaned up pretty good. Look out the hood. I'll turn the lights on so y'all can see what they look like. But that's the lights there. Got the flashers. And then here's how that hydraulic worked out. This one actually worked, so just gotta make sure that you order the right ones or they send you the right ones. But maybe it was just a single spool on this one. And then below it is the plate where the loader ties in. If anybody's looking at doing this, you just go by this plate. I think it's like an HV 5902 or something like that is the part number. And then that runs down to the loader on that side, down through there, and up to the joystick. But keeps you from tying up your rear hydraulics. And then here's just a plate they send with you with the hydraulics. Clean and mounted up. And also got this plow light here, which you have to have a switch on the lights to have that on it. Put that plow light on it so you can see something behind you. Got factory warning stickers on there. But she turned out pretty good. I'm stoked with how she turned out. Well, she's ready to go to work. And that's probably the end of this project for now. Unless something else comes up. But I am stoked with how she turned out. She looks really good. She's ready to go to work. We got a canopy here that we might throw on it. So that'll probably be the last little bit. We're all finished up. Well, on to the next one.